The jury in the Hunter Biden trial has reached a verdict in his federal gun trial. They have convicted him on all three felonies. That has just been broken seconds ago. We've got Richard Madden joining us in Washington. Richard, we are going through unprecedented, historic times in terms of former presidents and presidents' children being indicted on criminal charges. Remind us, how did we get here with Hunter Biden?
Yeah, we're using the word unprecedented several times, especially in this political cycle. But here we are. After just 3 hours of the jury's deliberation, they they reached a unanimous guilty verdict on all three counts. Count one is a false statement. That involves the firearm sales. Hunter Biden buying that gun, filling out the form saying when he bought it back in October 2018. Count two, issuing a false statement. That's when he ticked the box saying he wasn't using illicit drugs when he bought that gun. And count three, of course, is illegal possession of a firearm. That was when he owned that gun for that 11-day stretch. Now, the case itself was pretty cut and dry. No one was disputing the fact that he bought that gun, but the defense team were trying to illustrate that he wasn't addicted to drugs at the time when he purchased it, but clearly the jury thought otherwise. So this is a significant, and as we've been saying over repeatedly, unprecedented. The first child of a sitting president now guilty by a jury in the Biden's home state of Delaware. Now, the maximum sentence for all this is 25 years, 10 years for 2 felony counts, 5 years for 3 felony counts. Most legal experts say it's unlikely he will spend 25 years in prison, considering the fact that he is a first-time offender. But that really is in the judge's discretion when he issues his sentencing date. We're standing by for when that happens. But clearly, a monumental day here in the U.S. Hunter Biden guilty on all 3 counts. He does face 25 years in prison, but as I noted, it's unlikely that he will spend all that time behind bars. His father, President Joe Biden, has not spoken publicly on his child's specific case, although he did say that he would not pardon him in a recent interview. So this has huge political and legal ramifications, and now we're standing by to see what the next steps are. And the first major step, of course, is for the judge to issue a sentencing date.
Okay. As we're speaking, Richard, we'll keep the conversation going, but we'll also continue to look at that live shot of the courthouse in Wilmington, Delaware, because there's a possibility that we might hear from the attorneys involved in this case about how they're feeling about this verdict. So we'll stay on top of that shot for you in case you're wondering what exactly we're looking at. We're waiting for someone involved in the case to come out, make a statement to the press. Now, as we're also waiting for the judge to give an indication of the sentencing date, this is not the end of Hunter Biden's legal troubles. He's also facing a trial in September in California on charges of failing to pay over $1 million in taxes. Would that weigh at all in your sense, Richard, of moving forward on how this gets interpreted by the politicians in Washington or even by the judge in terms of sentencing?
Well, it is a separate case, which isn't involved in this gun case. But clearly, Hunter Biden's likely his legal and personal troubles likely will be a drag on his father's re-election campaign in November. But you're right, this is just the first in 2 significant legal troubles facing Hunter Biden. There was a plea deal just a little while ago that fell apart where Hunter Biden would have avoided this whole trial and, of course, this criminal record that falls from it. So clearly, this is going to be problematic for Hunter Biden. Throughout this trial, his whole family has attended. They took up the first few rows, including his stepmother, First Lady Jill Biden, and prosecutors are trying to make that an issue, that perhaps that this was a way to sway the jurors by having the whole Biden family there. But clearly, as far as this case, it was pretty cut and dry, as I've been saying earlier. No one denied that he bought the gun. The focus of the case was really, did he buy it knowingly as a drug addict during that 1-month timeline in October 2018? And clearly the jury were unanimous on determining that yes, he did, and he was guilty of all these 3 felonies. And now, as we've been noting, the judge will then have the discretion to determine what the sentence will be for Hunter Biden. As we've noted, he faces up to 25 years in prison, but it's unlikely that that the judge will rule that he serves that time in prison.
Let's talk about Hunter Biden's voice during the trial. He did not testify, but the jury did get to hear him through excerpts from his audiobook, his 2021 memoir, which did address a number of the issues that were brought up during the trial. Talk to us about the decision to use the excerpts by the defense rather than having Hunter Biden actually speak.
Well, having Biden testify, called up to the witness stand, is a fairly risky strategy, and because he would be open to cross-examination. So that's why he did not appear on the witness stand. But Hunter Biden has been very open about his struggles with addiction, and as you noted, part of his audiobook was read to the jury. The prosecutors also showed photos of him holding a crack pipe. And we heard from his ex-partners, his ex-girlfriends, who dealt with Hunter Biden as he was struggling with his addiction, as they found his crack pipes. He took crack cocaine. And all the while, his stepmother, First Lady Jill Biden, was listening to the testimony. So clearly, there was compelling evidence for the jury to make that unanimous decision today. So we are all just standing by to see what the judge determines his punishment should be.
CBC's Richard Madden in Washington, thank you for that. We will turn to you again as this story will continue to develop in the moments ahead, not even the days ahead. Richard, thank you for that.